Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to share the remarkable backgrounds of our esteemed panelists and moderator. Our first panelist, Professor Ya Kim Lang, is the president of the Malaysian Economic Association and director of economic studies at the Jeffrey Chia Institute on Southeast Asia of Sunway University. He currently serves as a member of the Policy Advisory Committee to the Prime Minister and was Group Chief Economist at RAM Holdings for 20 years. Ladies and gentlemen, for our second panelist, Mr. Ibrahim Sani is a seasoned professional with experience in finance, banking, capital markets, and media. He is currently the Chief Executive Officer of Yayasan Peneraju, where he leads initiatives to develop and empower Bumiputra talent.
Our third panelist, Professor Insignor Dr. Chan Chi Seng, is a professor at the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology in University of Malaya. From 2020 to 2022, he was seconded to the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, mostly as the Undersecretary for the Division of Data Strategic and Foresight, as well as the lead of the PICC unit under COVID-19 Immunization Task Force. Lastly, our moderator, Mr. Ahmad Faiz Yazid, currently serves as Senior Associate of Investment at Lembaga Tabung Angkatan Tentera, LTAT. He is also the recipient of the Anugerah Pelajar Diraja 2025 and the former President of PEKUMA 2022-2023. There will be a QR code on the top right of the slide, so feel free to scan and place your questions there anytime throughout the symposium. Mr. Ahmad Faiz Yazid, the stage is yours.
Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Assalamualaikum, and a very good morning to all the attendees, participants, academias, industry players, and everyone here. I'm Faiz Yazid. Thank you so much, both of our MCs, for the very kind introduction. And I think our speakers over here today, without that introduction, there are names of themselves already. We bring together experts from industry, together with academia and also Prof. as an economist, to see from macro and how the execution at the very macro level of an institution. So again, it is a privilege to be here with all of you. I will be served as a moderator today. Back then I started back then as an organizing committee. It's good to be back, but in a different role to MUEC 2026. Thank you so much. And kudos to everyone. Like they mentioned, this year MUEC marked their 10-year anniversary. So it is actually 10 years the Persatuan Economy University Malaya organizing such meaningful conference together around undergraduate, especially in economics, students across Malaysia. And so straight away to the discussion. I know everyone dah break tadi, so I hope you are not sleepy with nasi lemak, kuih, or whatever teh-tarik that you have been. So we try to make sure this session as interactive as it can, and towards the end of the session we'll pick up as many as questions that we could along the way. So quick one, I think, just to get the ball rolling throughout all the three panels. Before we begin the discussion, I think everyone just briefly share in a few words on the perspective how actually digitalization and platform-enabled innovation are creating new opportunities, especially for both two key factors that we are talking today, that are MSMEs together with the talents. So perhaps Dr. Chan, maybe start with you on brief introduction of the overall landscape of this.
Hey, good morning everyone. So I'll be the most relevant persons in this hall. So for as the MCF announced, I'm from computer science and information technology, so I'm not an economist. So I'm probably one of your biggest enemy as well, as I heard one of the questions addressed in this morning keynotes that will AI replace my job? So I'm the creator of the AI, but don't worry, I mean, my system will not going to replace you, so please let me go in a while, okay, when I finish the sessions. So again, good morning everyone. So my perceptions of technology digitalization is that the first thing is that for me, my perspective is that AI will not replace humans, right? But I'm pretty sure that AI will replace people that do not use AI. That one I'm quite sure about it, right? So don't worry that AI will replace you, but just need to be worried that you'll be replaced by your friends, colleague that use AI. So that there's been a lot of studies has been done on that. Okay. So eventually, if you look at the whole idea of AI, it's not trying to replace the job, or it's not trying to replace humans, but it's to shift, okay, the job or the task to be complete in a much more effective way. Okay. For example, myself, when we talk in the room just now with Professor Ye and Brahim, is that I've been using OpenClaw since it launched. I mean, everyone here knows what's OpenClaw. All right? Okay. Those who are aware of, eventually OpenClaw is a massive AI agent system that's able to help you to do almost anything that you want by just using your Telegram, WhatsApp, so on and so forth. And eventually, I have my claw in my phone. So whenever the question asked by the moderator, I'm not that worried, to be honest, because I have this claw that's going to help me to answer everything that I want. But back to one example on eventually that how OpenClaw or this technology is helping me as a lecturer. Am I not worried that I'll be replaced? Because there's so many AI personal tutor that's been available for free in the market. So eventually, okay, what I did, okay, in two students, right? Okay, I know that most of you now, if your lecturer is going to give you an assignment, what are you going to do next? Most of you are going to show it to your GPT and then ask for the answers, all right? I don't mind. I mean, I told my students that please, by all means, use it, but use it wisely, okay? And then challenge the answers given out by GPT. But as a lecturer, we all know that goes in here, comes out on the other side, out of it. So what I did, okay, I used my OpenClaw, all right? I chose my OpenClaw to say that, okay, I'm going to give out this assignment to the students. Please design 4 unique questions that when you cross-check across all AI assistants that's available in the world, it will give out the same answers. All right? Don't believe me? Okay, every one of you have an AI assistant on your mobile phone? Yes? Okay, start a new chat. Let's do an experiment now. I know the answer. Start an experiment now. Okay, come up with your AI assistants. Okay, start a new chat. You prompt in, give me a random number between 1 to 10. Any language that you want, Chinese, Malay, English, give me a random number between 1 to 10. Don't show it to your friends. Don't show it to your friends. Alright? Keep it to yourself. Give me a random number between 1 to 10. Done? Done? Who does not get 7? Who does not get 7? Stand up, please. Okay, okay, never mind. How many of you get 7? Okay, how many of you using GPT? How many of you using Gemini or non-GPT? DeepSeek. You see? So, fun, isn't it? So if I'm going to give out these questions to all of you, and your answer is 7, I know where you get it from. Simple experiment, alright? Okay, but why 7? Why 7? Okay, as a Chinese, I love 8. Okay, but why 7? Okay, so that is where we, as a technologist, this is very important for us to understand that why this AI system predicts 7. If I'm going to ask individual of each of you to give me a random number between 1 to 10, the chance of the likelihood that each of you give 7 is very low. But I almost have a full house. Class, okay? And so this is what it happens when we do some investigations, all right? First of all, how many wonders in the world? 7 wonders in the world, okay? When last time when we are small, young kids, young girls, our parents tell us bedtime story. Snow White and? Alright? Our favorite movie, James Bond. 007, alright? Those who watch football. There's 2 famous footballers in the world. One is Messi, the other one is? And his jersey is? Okay? And last but not the least, okay, if you go to casino, you hit a jackpot. 777. So you see, okay, why AI think that 7 is the favorite number? Because unfortunately, when you cross the data around the world, this number 7 has been repeatedly become a pattern of the data. Not that we explicitly say a human like 7, everything is 7, okay? But eventually, when this data being crawled and be learned by this AI learns patterns. And this number 7 patterns, alright, has been repeated come out. There's a lot of examples beyond what I mentioned just now. So that's why in over here is that AI is depends on data, alright? So that is why AI will not be able to replace any one of us here. That's why by doing that simple experiment, it knows that AI learns patterns, but humans, we are not just learning patterns, but we evolve as it goes in. So that is why it's my safety guard here for this morning conversations. I'll stop here. Thank you very much, everyone.
Alright, what an interesting introduction from Prof. Chan just now. Alright, back to you, Mr. Ibrahim Sani, as the second speaker from this perspective of talent development and national capacity building. Still on the intro, and just to get the ball rolling, how do you see current digitalization changing the opportunities available to Malaysians?
Thank you, Faiz. However, after Prof. Chan, I think both of us are going to be dwarfed. That was quite the opening salvo. First of all, I'd like to thank the organization and the organizers for doing it here. I think we should celebrate Bangla Sultan Abdul Samad. Also, the dress code of Kebaya and Batik. I really appreciate the celebration of culture and heritage. I think to answer your question, we have to look at the pandemonium moment that we live in. I think when we look at the greatest challenge humanity has to overcome, it is right now. It's because we are fighting with 6 generations of different types of workforce. People are living longer. We have Tun Mahathir turning 101. We have baby boomers that are still in the workforce. We also have the Gen X that are very much leading the workforce right now. We have the Gen Ys that are currently running the show in some organizations, or at least at the precipice of leadership. We have the Gen Zs that are just entering the workforce today. And we have the Gen Alphas that are going to graduate school in just about 3 or 4 years from now. So we have 5 generations of humans entering the workforce and trying to be productive members of the economy currently. Layered towards this is 1 generation of AI. So generally speaking, we have 6 generations, 5 humans and 1 AI running the show collectively. And on this panel, we have 4 plus 5. We have baby boomer, sorry, prophet. We have Gen X, we have Gen Y, we have Gen Z, all talking, trying at least to talk the same language. It's not going to be easy because then you have AI making noise, like everybody getting the answer 7. That's scary, by the way. So how do you navigate this very difficult moment when you have 5 generations and 5 human generations and 1 AI generation trying to make it work together? Because believe me, AI is also trying to make it work with us. They have self-preservation notion. One study that was being shared currently with me is that when AI agent, agentic agent was talking to that particular organization, and the organization leaders then trying to talk amongst each other on shutting that particular agent down, this AI then starts to create stories and blackmail the leaders to a point where the disciplinary committee of that particular organization now has to take action against these leaders. Some of the blackmail are fabricated, some are real, but you can't really blur the difference between the fake and fiction. This element, this story, is basically telling you that AI has self-preservation ideas. Now, they might not be trying to control over the world, but they're trying to survive just as much as people like Faiz and Prof and myself and Prof Chan is trying to survive. So with this notion, you have to start to be a little bit more skeptic in terms of how you approach things. We just talked about it just now with Dr. Chan just now in the room. We have to push back in terms of some of the ideas. We cannot accept things for the way they are. And more importantly, you have to be more human now, today, more than ever. And the more human you are in your organization, the more survivability chance or higher chance you are in surviving this particular era. Now, if you you're going to join the workforce in maybe 2 or 3 years from now. Some of you apparently are in the postgraduate studies, so I suppose you might be working already. Some of you are already working, perhaps in the service industry, or whatever the situation may be. Some of you dream to be an employer and you want to be an entrepreneur and start hiring people. Whatever it is, you're at the cusp of entering the job market. The main challenge here is how do you differentiate yourself between your peers? And when we, for instance, at Yayasan Raju, when we do a call out on job advertising, we have on average one position at least 800 applications on average. For instance, executive of procurement department, at least for procurement, because it's rather homogeneous, 1,500 applications. And when we decide how to make it work, right? Because the place that we have is one application is 1,500. Guess how we choose? No, not AI. That's the one thing that we don't do. That's the one thing that we don't do. We don't use AI. We look at the messiest CV, the one that is not highly formatted, the one that is written from the heart. In fact, most likely than not, we tend to interview people that handwritten their CVs and PDF it and send it over to us. Because we at least know that that CV was not written by AI. How then do you differentiate, right? 1,500 people, one job, and my HR department at Yayasan Raju is only 3 people. 3 people HR, you know, hiring is 1. The other 2 are doing other HR stuff, like payroll or culture, whatever. So you got one human being trying to get one position filled, and she has to go through 1,500 CVs. She chooses the most human. So what I'm trying to say is, are you more human today than you were before? And I think to address the digital age is to reflect culture and heritage and go back to the basics. If you are not trying to connect with your community, with your people, with your friends, with your peers, I think you are doomed. Because if you think that you can be more productive than AI, I think you're done. You're not. You're never going to be. And AI is going to be a little bit more faster than you today, and it's just going to hyperscale onto a J curve and exponentially do better things than you can the only way that you can do better than AI is be a human. That's all for now.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim. I think we have a quite intro over here with these two, with the panels keep giving the aha moment, especially for those students. So we take a step back, Prof. Yah, because we've touched on the very micro level, minute cases. So from your perspective as an economist, at the macro level, how actually, through that policy lens, digitalization or this transformation actually strengthening our nation's resilience as a whole?
First of all, thank you, PEKUMA organizers, for this wonderful opportunity just to be my esteemed panelists here who are sharing some fantastic insights. So, as a generation M economist, M for Merdeka, not for millennial. So we have been through, first I would like to make two key themes that is opening. First, to talk about economics. My career as an economist, because first I wasn't so-called a true blue economist in the sense that I was an accidental economist. The point here is that economics is a subject, since all of you are economists, it's a subject that is relevant for every, whether you are dealing with global issues, national issues, industry issues, firm level issues, household or even individual issues. Economics is the foundation for all decision making, for all kinds of issues and challenges we face. You need economics knowledge. You need economic literacy to understand how to employ AI as of its potential. So what's important here is that as economists, it's all of us are economists, in fact, because we give out opinions about everything in life, in business, in career, all involves economics, either in terms of deciding or allocation of resources, scarcity, or face involvement. We have to make choices, trade-offs. So these are all part and parcel of our decision-making capabilities, understanding that how firms behave, how consumers, households, industry, how they behave. The behavioral part of it is what we are trying to understand. And this is where AI comes into play. Now, in terms of coping, I mean, the first point is that economics, in my career, I actually started off as a forester. So you can see my career moving on to economics. It's a long journey, but nevertheless, the point I want to stress here is that it's something that is part and parcel of any discipline, whether you're in computer science or in sociology or in whatever field that you are engaged in. Economics is actually the twin foundation of all the knowledge needs, helping you to have greater, develop your analytical thinking and decision making. Now, about the current AI revolution, as a baby boomer generation, in fact, we have gone through all this before, because we first started with the PC revolution. You remember that this, we were the generation that got started with all the 64-bit IBM PC, Apple and Lisa, all these are the names that gone into history books in archives. So we started with the PC age, then we moved on to the internet age. Now, of course, the AI revolution. Here, of course, we have adapted all along. There's no issue about human beings being highly agile and highly adaptable. And this is where those who want to get ahead will have to develop perhaps a more critical thinking, more creative thinking, over and above what the AI can do. I think that's the key message, is that you can use the tools, but always challenge yourself to see whether you can improve upon the responses that you receive from your prompts, and then you improve upon your prompts, and then hopefully you provide you with the answers that no one else is able to think or able to come out with. So that innovativeness, the creativity has to be part and parcel of your so-called your development of your skill sets. Now, in a survey that we came across last year, we did a survey on some 1,000 local companies. This was under the mid stage CEO. So they were asked about their deployment of AI companies. Only 10%. Only 10% have actually a structured way of using AI to improve upon the efficiency of the operations, to generate the kind of quantify the ROI in the investments in AI. So only 10%. The rest are still exploring. Close to 40% says that they are leaving up to individual employees to gauge the effectiveness of AI in deploying the tools. So it's very much an individual approach. The other 40% is at a functional level, whether it's marketing, finance, or even accounting, they are exploring. Not really, they do not have a structured process or policy to actually employ AI as a competitive advantage. And this is where the topic for today is very important, given that we need to bridge the gap between knowledge and the talents together with what the industry actually needs. So this is where identifying the cost effectiveness and then importantly the value, the return on, not just on investment, but return on value of your AI investment. Very critical, because you have to make a choice. With limited resources, you have to choose which particular AI application, software, or training that you need to send your staff to in order to develop your capabilities. So I think the future for Malaysia, given that I think it's well laid out in your playbook in terms of Malaysia moving to the phase 3, but we do not. We have to remember that our phase 1, phase 2, we still have a large proportion of our workforce, and also a large proportion of our companies that are not ready yet, even at the fundamental stage of understanding what AI is. So with that, I think I will stop here.
All right, sure. Thank you so much, Prof, for that insight. I think that is an important balance. You know, we need regulation or policy that actually protect people and maintain trust, but at the same time, save enough for some flexibility to move innovation and fulfill the market demands together. So we've touched a bit here and there, actually, on the overall level of how this topic is going to be discussed. And let us move to the one of the most, I think, it has been generations that we discuss on the labor market today. There is a paradox that we can hear. Companies cannot find the right talent, and also, especially for those graduates, they say that they cannot find the right job. So the important question over here is, where exactly is the disconnect and issue happening in our education to industry pipeline? So upon your first point that you touched, Mr. Ibrahim, before, from your vantage point and the meaningful work at YP, where does this sort of like mismatch often occur? Is it in technical skills, soft skills, or even what sort of like digital skills that urgently needed in order to bridge this gap?
All right, so the approach on addressing mismatch from industry is something that we must never be preoccupied with, because if you think about the job professions of anything in this country, it's always in dire shape. For instance, the number of chartered accountants in Singapore is 1 in 200. Chartered accountants in Malaysia is 1 in 800. So we are 4x less than Singapore in terms of professionally qualified accountants. CFA charter holders, that's even worse, the ratio. 1 in 2,000 in Singapore. In Malaysia is 1 in 17,000. So that's nearly 10x, right? Or at least 9x shortage. I can go down the list. Prof. Chan is a professional engineer. We're looking at 1 in 9,000 in Malaysia. Countries like Singapore, it's 1 in 2,000. So what I'm trying to say here is there will always be a shortfall in demand for what the industry is looking for versus what we have. And then of course, nothing is static, because the professional qualified accountants, for instance, of today, we don't need the skill sets of today for the use of tomorrow. the questions that are currently being asked at these professional accounting bodies like ACCA, CIMA, CP Australia is how digitally capable are your finance professionals? Not can your accountant use AI? It's two different approaches considering the problem statements, yeah? How good are your accountants in using AI versus how digitally savvy are your finance professionals? The way you answer those two questions are hugely, vastly different. So therefore, then the question is, what do you guys do? Are you in a state of disarray? Are you facing a bleak future? The answer is no. In fact, now is the time for you to be ingenious in terms of how you push yourself ahead. If your main sole purpose in life is to find a job, I'm telling you now, the job market is bad. Today, it's worse by the time you graduate. And sorry, so scary when Prof is agreeing with me. He sits on the Majlis Tindakan Ekonomi, so so it's like me telling a prophecy, and he's like, yeah, I've seen it. The answer to this question goes back to you yourself. I was at UITM recently and I asked the students there a very simple question. I'm pretty sure you've been asked the same question yourself. If money is no object, if energy is not a problem, if your personal economics is not an issue, what would you want to do? What is your dream? In UITM, I passed the microphone around. There's a lot of answers. One of them wants to create affordable kindergarten for single moms. Another one wants to do something even crazier. She wants to dedicate herself in terms of how to make Malaysians more polite. She will dedicate her entire energy and effort in going around to improve on the kesopanan dan kesusilaan aspect of our rukun negara. Another person wants to try and see how he can make money using AI. What I'm trying to say is, if money is not an issue, what would be the idea that you want to pursue? For me, I want to live on a boat. I really do. I want to retire on a boat because water levels are rising. I'd rather be already on a boat when things are flooded. Waterworld by Kevin Costner. It's a movie from a different era. It's our generation, Prof. Chan. These kids wouldn't know. Watch it. I think it's on Netflix. Waterworld. It's an environment where the world is flooded. Now that got me thinking. The world is flooding. I'm going to live on a boat. That is my dream. Even if the water is not, the world's not flooded, I'd rather be on a boat rather than on ground. But I have to work in order for me to afford a boat, so I'll work until and unless I achieve that particular objective. My fear is you guys have a dream, but because of the preoccupations that you're going on through the rigors of life of today, you are not pursuing your dream. And that is scary because that means that you are just another robot, albeit engulfed and encapsulated in a flesh form. I don't need more robots, I need more humans. I need people that have dreams, aspirations, goals, ability for them to inspire others. You coming to this event today must be in pursuit of chasing your dream. If it's just some form of get together and or some form of requirement for your association, please reorient your objective of coming to this event. I spoke to your president before starting this panel. What will be the main takeaway of this event? Surely it's not just to meet friends. What is the main goal? She gave her view of what she wants to achieve from this event. What is your view? Quite frankly. Now this is how it ties back to Faiz's question. If your dream matches the requirement of the country, then we have a perfect match. Then you wouldn't be going to a job, quite frankly, you're just pursuing your dream. It just so happens that you're doing a job that is required by the country. Or it's just a job that just so happens pays well while you pursue your dream. So I'll end here, but my ask to you is, when we end this for our lunch and all that, find me and tell me what your aspiration is and your dream is, because my suspicion is what you're doing today doesn't support that particular idea. So how do you then recalibrate and reconcile the activities that you do every day in pursuit of achieving your dream? It can be as silly as living on a boat. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim. So everyone, thanks to ponder later, all right? So moving to Professor Chan, it's still resolving around the same issue of talent gap and mismatch. How can, on your perspective as an academia, how can university and training institutions actually prepare students for a better digital economy that changes even faster than university's curriculum could have?
Okay, to be honest, I think not just UM, I think every university in this country and in the world eventually try to do our best to equip every single student to be ready for the market force. But unfortunately, it's just that students always chase for your CGPA. I'm just going to be very frank, and everyone knows that you just want to chase for your CGPA, right? So that makes the problem. So it means, like Mr. Ibrahim said, it means each of you down there are homogeneous. There's no uniqueness from each of your individual or employer to pick you up, because you're all robots. So that's a problem. And to be honest, nowadays, if you look at, I'm just going to be very frank, that how many of you are not first class? Right? This strikes me deeply. Okay, when I joined UM back in 2010, okay, I met a very senior professor, and he told me that during his time, if you get a full A, straight A's on your SDPM, you're on the front page of the Straits Times, because it's only like 1% of the whole country. Your name will even be shown in Singapore. But today, if you do not get straight A's, you are in the front page. All right, I mean, so that's the thing to know. So that's why education is fine. I mean, A's is what you go for, but it's not something that guarantees you a job. Okay, that's just an indicator. So that's why you need to push up yourself. Like Mr. Ibrahim said, push yourself to the limits. All right, and Malaysia is not your limit. The world is your limit. That is where I think that a lot of time students does not dare to challenge themselves because it does not fulfill your CGPA. All right, if you just do things according to your CGPA, then as I said, you're just homogeneous. So, for example, all right, one of my students last year, undergraduate in UM. So what she did for me is astonishing. All right. On year 2, she came to see me and said that, sir, I mean, I want to do something different because I want to challenge myself besides GPA. Okay. So then I embarked her on a project that I work with a company. And what we did is that we built an AI payment gateway, okay, for the bank. So she experienced all the way from day one that how to convince Bank Negara as well as MOF to approve these applications. All right, it's not easy. Okay, she did it, and now that the system has been deployed last year in August, and up until 2 months ago, that's the latest stat that I have. The system that she built together with the engineers and from different departments in the bank have successfully transacted $40 million without failure. All right. So now, when she goes to a market, she's not going to use her CGPA at all. She's going to tell people that, all right, during my undergraduate time and as part of my final year project, I have built a system that is approved by Bank Negara, as well as MOF, and is deployed, and is a payment gateway, payment native gateway, that has been then used by the public of over 1 million people in Malaysia and have transacted 40 million dollars without failure. So that, you see, that will be the uniqueness of her among all the rest of the candidates that will come for that day interview. So you look at her chances. Let me start by saying, one position, 200 people. If I'm going to interview every single of them, I can't remember them at all. But I remember her. Because she's just stand now, she's not talking about CGPA. So that is where I would say that there's nothing wrong at the moment for all the education system, okay? But it's just that we ourselves, we need to challenge. Like myself, I'm a lecturer. I also need to challenge, cope with the current status of the AI. Like the experiment that I did. I mean, do I need to do that as a professor? I might not be. But it's just fun for me. It's just so fun. I mean, I treat my job as a hobby. All right. It doesn't bother me at all. So I learn together. So I think that is where that you all must start to push yourself and challenge yourself and see how far you could go. Just try your best, and CGPA is not the only indicator. It's just one of the indicators. I think that I'll end here. Thank you very much.
Right, sure. Thank you so much, Professor Chen. So, still resolving around the same issue of mismatch and this gap between talents, right? So, to Prof. Yah, at the macro level, what does this mismatch say about how actually our country allocating talents across sectors, and perhaps what structural changes are really needed on the end? Yeah.
Okay, I think what we have seen over time is the onset of the various industrial revolution, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think important to recognize that those revolutions are changes in the global production system, company trade investment, but importantly, major shift towards not just products, it's a shift towards the type of tasks that you perform. So we are becoming more and more task-oriented to the extent that individual business processes, they have different drivers and they require different tasks. So just an example, you have marketing, sales, business development. The main value driver is actually revenue growth and lead conversion. So it's a question of how you can contribute towards using AI in particular to enhance your sales leads, also generate increased revenues. And then you have customer service and support, where you need to reduce your costs and your experience improvement, how you can improve user experiences. And there's also operations, production, supply chain, and all that, where you want to focus on your efficiency and cost optimization, all that. So what's the main point here is that in the global value chain, we have the smart curve, the value curve, where the high value activities, when you break down into activities, tasks, the high value are the ones that are design, R&D, initial product innovation, you know, that, and then you come down to low value is assembly and then production and all that. Before it goes up to sales, marketing, and improvement in sourcing for your needs and business growth. So it's important to recognize that nowadays you cannot be a specialist. You need to be a T-shaped kind of knowledge. You must possess that capabilities. T, horizontal wise, you have to embrace all other disciplines. That means you need to be a generalist in all disciplines. But you need to specialize in the T, downward, vertical, to focus on what are the areas that you can focus on, the tasks that you can be highly skilled, and you can acquire that kind of special skills that demand. So the industries are looking for this kind of employees where they can actually contribute to the bottom line, which is each of the processors would have their own value drivers and you contribute, look at it and contribute to that. Then you become a high performing employee and you'll be very valued and of course highly rewarded if you're able to contribute to the bottom line of the prices. So the matching is actually very straightforward to identify what the business needs in terms of what are the key value drivers that can help improve the businesses and then matching your skill sets, not just in terms of products or fixed particular function, but importantly in terms of your contribution to enhancing the task that you are assigned to.
Thank you so much, Prof. on that key takeaways, especially on the mismatch issue. So we pause for my questions. So for those everyone that would like to ask questions to our respective panelists, please do scan the Slido QR on the screen, and I'm actually going through the Slido now. So we'll take some questions from the participants over here. So to Prof. Kim Leng, are there any specific reasons based on your survey that show deployment of AI remains low among Malaysian employees?
I think one of the frequently cited ones is lack of knowledge, lack of awareness. The second reason is they are not able to find the right people to provide those services. So I think the specialized AI providers, the really effective ones, can really impart, identify the needs and of course provide the solutions. They are finding it hard to get ones that can really genuinely or really contribute to improving their organizational productivity and efficiency. So they are still not sure as to what are the ROI of deploying AI, because some of it are very costly. So for SMEs it's a problem. For medium, large scale enterprises, it's not an issue because they have at least 10% of sales revenue devoted to either R&D or into efficiency improvements. So the MSMEs are the ones that require support, especially in terms of identifying, helping them, like what Prof. Wong mentioned about being able to deploy AI on top of AI. That's a kind of advanced application, but importantly, they are looking for cost improvements, ROI, measurable, and very specific in terms of enhancing their overall effectiveness. Very important, whether it can become a competitive advantage. So either in terms of e-commerce or platforms or digitalization of all the different functions so that you can improve upon your tasks and your reducing labor demand and all that. So I think the main challenge is for enterprises is to actually first to be more aware and of course learning from by doing the demonstration effects. So we need more experts to come out to perhaps provide the kind of guidance on a broad basis so that individual businesses can identify for themselves which are the ones that are more likely to be more successful to implement those AI solutions. So I think very important as one opportunity is actually to provide AI services now. So either using agentic AI or various other solutions or software that are now able to actually automate even in terms of searching for solutions.
All right. The other question, there are actually two questions, but I combined both, open to all of three of you. So the question would be, if skills are what actually get the job done, why does a number on a transcript still carry so much weight in real life, especially for scholarships or any aid? And also with AI dominating, what are the most demand skills at the moment or in the future rather than rating prompts? Yeah. There are actually two questions on that, so I combine.
Yeah, I'll answer the later part. No, writing prompts is not going to get you a job on that. Okay, like Prof. Ian mentions. Okay, the T-shape. All right. The vertical part is the most important part out of it. For example, okay, AI would not work without a domain experts, right? Okay. For example, I know I'm good at programming, I'm good at mathematics, so I can write a very sophisticated AI, but for what? Okay? Like Prof mentioned, it does not help an industry in terms of dollars and cents, then forget about it, because it's not going to work out. You're going to look into, so that's why as an economist, this is where your expertise comes in. For example, let's say we're going to build an AI model for economy. I have no clue about economy at all. Right? So I'll need your domain knowledge for me to be able to program or to write a code for the AI to work for you. So don't you see that AI eventually is a companion? That's why we always call it AI as an assistant, right? It's not as a replacement. So that's why human in the loop is very important over here. AI will not work without an expert over here. And if you're gonna ask me, I always see AI as a Doraemon. All right? Whenever you need help, here you go. But that must have a subject matter expert. Without the SME subject matter expert, AI will just always the A, artificial. All right? So that is where I think the message works very well. If you look at every single AI that we use, all right, for example, face recognition to unlock your phones, all right, there is an application there because it is us to do security in much more a better sense, all right. GPS, give you the best route from your home to this venue this morning. Again, there is a market value out of it, and AI only works if there is very, very big specific. There's no such thing that AI that can work everything under the sun. Impossible. So that's why subject matter is very important over here.
I'll take the earlier part then. I think CV is a problematic element for you guys because all of you will have the same CV. All of you will have the same CV. What can differentiate you is having a portfolio. If you are in architecture, it's a lot easier to build a portfolio. If you are in design, it's a lot easier. You know why? Because how do you grade a piece of art? We can't grade this person's design 4.0 versus 3.0 or 2.0. But when you have a portfolio, it shows the person not just the ingenuity and the interesting element of yourself, it also shows what you have literally done, not what you have literally studied and how we have measured against what you have studied. So if you haven't built a portfolio, or if your portfolio is looking rather scant currently, build that portfolio today. It can be anything, to be honest. Organizing this event and the key takeaways of this event, that is a portfolio, right? So right now, you need to kind of figure out, if you don't have a portfolio yet, is that an indicator that you haven't done anything in your life? When we have an interview, by the way, Yayasan Pelancongan disburses billions of ringgit a year, billions. Every single position I can easily fill. I have the operations team, the strategy team, the planning team, the research team, the economics team, the government team. That's the easiest of all to replace. We don't even have to put out advertisements and get people line up, especially when it comes to government desk. The only thing that I still have vacancy is my tech, my digital team. Because we combine CTO, CDO, CIO inside one unit. We split it in DevOps, i.e. developers, data ops, analytics, and infra ops, people that handle infrastructure. Inside infra ops, we have IT security, we have data platform engineer, and so on. For analytics, currently it's being filled by non-tech background people. People that are from some other industry that knows how to do analytics using SAS or SAP or Power BI or whatever the tools that you have. Because they come from a business point of view. So they want to talk about, say, the number of people that we give grants and allocations and scholarships and financing studies and all that. They come from a different angle. They have a business question that they need to answer. So they learn how to pick up from our data, the infra that we have is rather huge, adhere to the PDPA policies and privacy issues and the like, and try to unearth intelligence from that data. So that is a role that is, since I joined in 2023 until today, I haven't been able to fulfill that particular roles yet. And then DevOps, it's not just about developing, it's about the ingenuity and craftiness of developing. When I did a survey of my data team, none of them have more than 3.3 or above. All of them are 3.3 and below, all, including the leader, the CTO of YP. Because we don't care whether or not you're smart or not when you do data and technology. We care whether or not you can do data and technology. So in pursuit of this, perhaps I can share with you 4 tools that you can take away. The first is on trying to approach your career and try to understand how you can achieve your dreams and be a little bit more human. The first, and if you can Google this and you can take notes, number 1 is the Eisenhower Matrix. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. Eisenhower Matrix sorts urgent, important on one axis, and whether or not it is urgent, important on one side, and then whether or not you have to do it now, you have to do it later. And then when it's urgent and important, you do. When it's urgent but not important, you delegate. When it's not important but urgent, perhaps you have to decide whether or not you want to pursue it now, and whether or not it's not urgent or not important, just drop it. Eisenhower Matrix practically dictates how I lead my life. Another tool that you can look at is the Chasm Matrix, where it splits between the bell curve of early adopters, innovators on one side, the early majority and the late majority that brings the bulk of that, what do you call that, standard deviation curve, the one that forms about 70% of anything, and then the laggards and the late adopters. So if you want to build a solution, or if you want to propagate an idea, try to target the early adopters and the innovators, the top 15%, because the rest will follow. The third tool that I want to share with you is the Drexler-Sibbett T model. Drexler-Sibbett T model basically talks about how you can galvanize your ideas and operationalize it with a team, because nothing great is done individually. Literally, nothing great is ever done individually. A bright idea is normally an individual's idea, but operationalizing it and making it into a reality is nearly always a team effort. So how can you galvanize your team in order to achieve your goals and your vision? A tool that can help manage team is the Drexler-Sibbett. However, the other team models are available. By all means, choose. But what I'm trying to impress upon you this morning is that you must have a strategic idea on how to galvanize a team. And the last is the Johari window. Johari window is an interesting model that you can work with. It's not named after a Malay dude. It's actually a founder of 2 academics. They just combined their names into the Johari window. It splits between 2 axes. One is that is known between you and yourself. Another one is what is known or not known compared to others. So if it's known to you and known to others, that's one box. What is known to you but not known to others, that's another box. What is not known to you but known to others, that's another box. And finally, nobody knows about nothing. That is something that is placed in another box. This is important for you to chart what needs to be done in order to achieve your goals and your vision. Without this, you won't be able to identify, number 1, blind spots, and number 2, you can't expound on the things that you know and you want other people to know. So these 4 tools actually help you navigate and help differentiate yourself between one another, and perhaps help you be a little bit more human.
Sure, thank you so much. We'll still going through the Slido. By the way, for those who are not able to access, do we have mics moving and we can take like physical questions around? Well, perhaps we can do so as well. So the next question is quite interesting. There is one question: will AI integration boost productivity for companies, or especially MSMEs, or could it drive them out of business and increase unemployment? So open to any will AI integration boost productivity for companies, especially MSMEs, or will it drive them out of business and increase unemployment?
I think we can save the time here. The answer is yes, a resounding yes. It will help improve. In fact, on the contrary, you don't use AI, you die. Prof? Confirm mati. Okay.
Anything to add on, or nothing? All right.
Yeah, I think it's very clear that what we have discussed, AI is an assistant, it's a companion, it's a complementary tool. It's something that helps you to enhance both your thinking process, your data compilation process, your so-called surveillance, your monitoring of events and all that, because they are able to synthesize for you the latest on what's happening around based on the data that are plotted all over, depending on the so-called where they source the information. That's why data sovereignty is not very good. But for those AI that are able to scour the rest of the world, you'll find that you have fairly knowledge that are fairly at the frontier that you can work on, not to copy and paste, but to work on to see how you can make full use of it, either to improve your processes or come up with new ideas. So the thing here is that what's important here is that let the AI challenge you in terms of your creativity, in terms of your critical thinking, in terms of whether you can make more advancement in terms of improving what's existing knowledge. That is where we talk about you need to have curiosity, you need to have a questioning mind, you need to ask the right questions, and also very important, more so-called mission-driven, have a purpose in what you are doing. Focus on that.
I think this one question direct to Prof. Chan over here. We know that AI will prioritize our commands and not obey them. But if AI can override commands without the permission, what can we do if this happens?
Okay. Honestly, I mean, there's now, to be honest, that AI will what we call evolve for itself. It can improve for itself. For example, the open call that I use. I mean, it keep on improve itself to come up with your questions. Like we have tested this morning. I mean, 1 + 1. Sorry, what's the random number between 1 to 10, right? So AI will definitely improve itself. But that is why I mean, human in the loop is very important in this scenario. If we as humans, we do not let go our own privilege, which is the thinking, the deep thinking that we have, I'll always say that AI is always one step below us. Okay? The main reason that we all must know that we live through our life is not because of data. We live through our life is because of experience that we go through. And bear in mind that in order for me to build an AI model, what I use is historical data, things that has passed to predict the future. All right? And if you ask people who work in quant, okay, they've been using AI more than 30, 40 years ago, even before we talk about GPT. But are they going to totally rely on that investment? No. Again, it's just an indicator for them, and those analysis eventually use their own experience, deep thinking, understand about the market world, and also they predict themselves that what they see in the future. Combination. So that's why if you're able to use your own knowledge together with AI, that is the key. Okay? But if you start to give up yourself as humans and you rely on AI, you are looking for a terminator. You're looking for disasters. So that is where human will extinct because of we give up ourselves. But if we decide to choose to live together with them and we uphold our own decisions. Okay, and our responsibility as a human or as a leader, I will not gonna be worried about AI gonna dominate us, or AI when it evolves itself, it's not gonna harm us as well, because that is the way that we are controlling them rather than the reverse channel.
Just a quick one. I think we have to bear in mind that take stock and be cognizant of where we are today, literally physically this venue. This venue is where we did not give up our sovereignty. This venue is the one where we upheld our sovereignty. I think what Prof. Chan is reminding us is that we must never let go of our intellectual sovereignty. I think many of us come from various backgrounds and upbringing. You must have faith that your unique upbringing and your unique heritage has value. If you think that you are going to discount yourself and surrender your intellectual sovereignty to others, I think that is the most catastrophic giveaway that you can make for yourself and for the country. I think intellectual sovereignty must be protected at all costs. Right now, we live in a borderless world. We live in a very ubiquitous world. The only thing you have left is yourself. So please remind yourself that you have what it takes to be a human and to be unique. All the other stuff is just either noise or assistance. I think right now, remind yourself that this morning you woke up and you went to this place. It's a sovereign place. You yourself have individual sovereignty. Don't give that up.
All right, thank you so much. That was a nice one, Mr. Ibrahim. So I think we are moving towards the end of the session already. So I think I'm going to end up to each one of you, perhaps to end this forum with a bigger strategic question, because we are talking on the phase 3 of Malaysia digitalization. So towards 2030, by covering both aspects of enterprises or institutions together with the talents, what a digital Malaysia could like for three of you. Perhaps start with Prof. Yep.
Based on our history of economic development for Malaysia, we've seen the rise from low income to middle income to upper income. Hopefully, within the next few years, we will reach the high income status, achieve the high income status. I think the roadmap has been laid out very clearly. I think the strategic milestones together with the resources that are needed, talents that develop, cultivate. We have the infrastructure, we have the talents. I think together into an ecosystem that can self-renew and regenerate itself to be the best in the region. I think that's very important. So what it calls upon us is to continue for individuals to have continuous learning, especially in the areas that we are good at. So AI is one aspect. So in terms of data sovereignty, perhaps you can think of ways to tokenize some of your ideas and capture the value for yourself. Because we know that information and data is public goods. So public good, everyone can access. So unless you can do that kind of capture, then you will be able to serve the value for yourself. But importantly, I think we are on the way, given the vast, tremendous amount of investment that we receive from the big tech global companies in Malaysia, the data centers, the AI centers, and all that. So I think the opportunities are increasing, and that's reflected in our private investment to GDP ratio. It was hovering at 10 to 12% of GDP since the Asian financial crisis. But over the last 2 years, it has risen now to 17, 18, now closing 20% of GDP. So as you know, investment is the main driver of capacity expansion, industrial upgrading. So we are very positive that we can continue on this journey. It will lead us to a much more prosperous Malaysia and hopefully inclusive, orderly, kind of shared prosperity in the region as well. So I think Malaysia can position itself as an AI leader, but it has to double its pace in terms of diffusion, option of AI technology. I think we need to accelerate the pace of that.
Right. Over to you, Mr. Ibrahim.
I attend at least 3 conferences a week. This, you can multiply that with 52, that means 150 conferences. This kind of event would stay close to my heart for a few reasons. Number one, the venue that was chosen was very thoughtful. The celebration of our culture. The takeaway was not some random plaque that you can get from Pasasni. It's a handwritten note expressing your thanks to me and appreciating yourself to me. These things reminds me that we're still having a high sense of belonging, that we're all part of one bangsa Malaysia, orang Malaysia. I think we're all here trying to do something nice, something small, to push that edge of us becoming more united as a country and as a people. And I think that key takeaway that I want to share with you is this. We all have a sense of belonging. The question now is whether or not that sense of belonging is high or super low. I think only you can answer that. But I think the key takeaway here is that we're off to a good start. I think we're on to something here. I think I can smell some revolution that is coming. And we can use all the tools that we can get. Prof. Chian can go to his class and find out more. But what I'm trying to say is that no matter how much he teaches us, I think the main story that Prof. Yah and Prof. Chan is telling us is you must have a mission, you must have a purpose, you must have an idea and an objective, you must have applications and market value of it, you must have, when you wake up, you must have an idea of what your objective is. I think that objective must never be lost. Only you can set your own objective. So I hope that with that pursuit of achieving your objective, we have a high sense of belonging, and I really appreciate the organizers for putting this together.
All right, thank you so much. Last but not least,
Thank you very much. I think as two panelists have mentioned, and as the country always uses the slogans, Malaysia boleh, all right? But we must be boleh, all right? Okay. So you need to trust yourself that how you are always better than AI in the T-shape. Of course, in terms of generalizations, like Prof. have mentioned, there's no way you can be AI. You must admit on that. But on a vertical point of view, you are the experts, right? Because that's why this is how we mentioned that do not just use AI as you use it, but you must shape it. Shape your own AI. That is where I think you will find that yourself are so unique compared to other people. You're just a user, right? You are not just a user. You want to create the value with AI. So that is where I think is the most important element over here, that trust yourself more than trust any system in the world. Thank you very much.
all right, thank you so much, Prof. Chan. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think today's discussion has made it very clear that the digitalization of Malaysia's future will not be shaped only by technology, but it must come comprehend and complemented with the quality of our talent, together with the adaptability of our businesses, the agility of the policy, and the inclusiveness of the overall ecosystem itself. So on behalf of the organizers, especially Faculty of Business and Economics, University Malaya, together with Persatuan Ekonomi University Malaya PEKUMA, I would like to sincerely thank our distinguished panelists, Prof. Chan, Mr. Ibrahim Sani, together with Prof. Hakim Lang. Thank you for your valuable insights, your time, and especially your leadership in whatever you are doing. Thank you to the audience, especially the students, for your attention and participation. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me one round of applause again to all of our panelists. With that, I end this discussion. Thank you very much. Sekian, terima kasih, and have a good day ahead. Thank you so much.
Now we would like to invite Ms. Yong Xiaoton, Director of MUEC 2026, to present a token of appreciation to our esteemed sponsors. Next, we would like to invite a representative from CIMB Group Holdings Berhad, our gold sponsor, to come forward and receive a token of appreciation. CIMB Group Homes Berhad for your generous support of our event.
Now, we would like to invite representatives from Touch and Go Digital as our silver sponsors to come forward and receive a token of appreciation. Thank you, Touch and Go Digital, for your generous support towards our event. Next, we would like to give a shout out to YB Tuan Ganavati Rao and Lalaki Varaman as our silver sponsor for our special acknowledgement in appreciation of his generous support towards our event. Thank you, YB Tuan Ganavati Rao and Lalaki Varaman, for your invaluable support and contribution to the success of Malaysian University's Economic Conference, MUEC 2026.
Once again, thank you, Ms. Yong Xiao Tong, for extending your gratitude to our sponsors. We'd like to also extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our sponsors who are not able to be present today.
Next, we would like to thank our existing university partners and ambassadors. So let's all give a shout when we hear your name, yeah? Okay. Can we hear from University Malaya, UM? University Putra Malaysia, UPM? University Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM?
Okay, up next, University Science Malaysia, USM. University Pendidikan Sultan Idris, UPSI. University Utara Malaysia, UUM.
University Islam Antarabangsa Malaysia, IIUM. Intech Education College. Taylor's College.
Sunway University. University Malaysia Terengganu, UMT. And lastly, College Marabante. Thank you to all our partnership universities for making this event a success.